What are some don't do's for entry-level graduates taking their first job? Like, you're going to bring some people in your office. What are some don't do's?
I think the biggest mistake that a new grad, new hire, junior engineer can do is have an expectation of what they're going to be doing, and having an expectation that, this is my strength, this is my skill, this is what I do, and need to fit that slot. When you get out in the field, whether you're at a desk, whether you're out in the field, it's really job dependent, or by job I mean project dependent, and you may have a desire to want to be a pure structural engineer, but you're going to find yourself doing many other tasks that are not structural engineering, and it's all part of the development of being an engineer and of getting a project done. And it's more than engineering. It's getting a project done. And the biggest mistake I think somebody can have coming in is feeling disappointed that they're not getting the job that or not getting the role that they thought they had signed up for.
Yeah.
And very little of what somebody's going to see when they come in and they sit down, for their first week and first month on the job is going to really match what they've experienced at school, because there are so many other aspects of what has to happen on a real project to make a real project proceed. That's the only one I can really think of, but it kind of encapsulates a lot, because the message is that if you go in with a certain expectation that this is what I'm going to do, and if not, then I'm not happy. That's a mistake going in. Be prepared to adapt. Really, adaptability, and that's something that I have done my entire career. Is it's kind of like a sine wave, because I've worked now for 7 different companies. One was acquired, one was an acquisition, doing different things. And if I had expectation that where I was going to be 5 years, 10 years, 25 years after graduation, none of that's the same. None of it is what I expected when I was getting into the career. And there were things that happen completely outside of control, outside of the industry's control. Things that, economic downturn in 2006, 2008, that was a huge impact on our industry, and many people had to reassess because jobs weren't there. And you took different jobs, you took different assignments, you took things that were outside of your skill, and you had to learn it. Or I managed electrical, mechanical, and process chemical projects for 4 years. I did it well. It was project management. I didn't need to know how to design a chiller, but I was still managing a chiller replacement project. And there was a time 15 years before that it was like, that's not what I do. I'm not going to do that. I'm a civil engineer, and this is what civil engineers are and civil engineers do. And I think that in the early part of my career, that may have been something that may have hampered some of my own satisfaction in terms of opportunities, because I had it in my head of what it was that I should be doing. And the flip side of that is there were things that I felt I shouldn't be doing. And it turns out that I should have been a little bit more open, a little bit more accepting, a little bit more adaptive. Even in my own career, my opinion has changed. There was a point where I looked at myself and said, I'm a technical person. I don't want to be caught up in the grind of working, client management and managing an office or managing people. And the more I got into my career, I realized that's where my strengths are. My strength, there are people who are much more technically inclined than I am on probably just about every aspect of civil engineering, and I can manage them well. And it took me a long time to realize that's not a bad thing, that I don't have to be the technical wizard. I may have thought that, coming in, I was, 20-year-old, 25-year-old kid, I'm going to come in and I'm going to be the best calculating engineer there is. And turns out there are better ones. But what I have is a skill that a lot of other engineers don't, and that is moving a team in the right direction, guiding a client to the right solutions, and that, again, that's a skill that eventually I figured that I add value here. I add more value doing this than I do doing that. And the earlier somebody can accept that, I think the better advancement, the better their career is going to be.